Good morning, Kern County, and thanks for tuning in to 23 ABC on this Friday. It is May 22nd. Glad you're here this morning. I'm Mike Hardin. Here are some of the stories we'll be talking about. You can find it on our website right now. Turn to 23.com. A stabbing off Arnold Street and Vanderbilt Drive in Northeast Bakersfield prompted a standoff Thursday morning after a suspect barricaded himself inside a home with a knife. We've got new information on that in a story coming to you this morning. Plus, did you hear about this? Two-time NASCAR champion Kyle Busch has died at 41 after battling what his family is simply calling a severe illness. We'll take a look at that. And we also have a Lamont auto repair shop that's training young EV technicians right here in Kern County after securing a grant from California Jobs First and the Kern County Coalition for Jobs. That story and more straight ahead. But first, the holiday travel rush is on. Millions expected to hit the roads and the skies for what AAA is predicting will be a record weekend for Memorial Day travel. But the war in Iran, of course, is putting a damper on some of those travel plans this year. ABC's Lionel Louise is in New York and has that story.
The cost of that Memorial Day weekend getaway will be higher for Americans this year, but that's not stopping more than 45 million people from hitting the roads and skies.
It's definitely going to cost a lot more this trip than other trips have.
The war with Iran leading to higher costs for gas and flights. The average price for a gallon of regular gas is $4.56 a gallon, up nearly $1.62 since the war started.
Grocery prices are really high, gas prices are really high. I just filled up my car. Normally it takes like close to $50, and this is at Costco. It's $70. That's a lot.
Analysts say the cost of airfare has increased 20% in a year, but travel experts say the high prices likely have people adjusting plans rather than canceling.
They'll probably still figure out a way to make it work, but they're probably going to have to cut some things out. Maybe even it's a shorter trip.
And another concern this holiday weekend, weather and other travel issues. Storms in the Northeast leading to a temporary ground stop at Newark Airport.
The tower just called us and said they cannot take any more airplanes. They are in gridlock tonight.
The FAA said delays averaged about an hour, and that massive sinkhole at LaGuardia Airport closed one of its 2 runways, forcing flyers to find other options.
All flights are booked. They're all sold out. I've even attempted to go to another airport, and unfortunately to no avail.
That runway isn't expected to reopen until Saturday morning. Now, if you are planning to drive to your destination, it's advice we hear every year the best times to avoid traffic are early in the morning or late at night. Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
Once again, if you're heading out, you're going to fill up. AAA is saying the average price nationally is $4.55. California at $6.13, and in Kern County, we're at $6.07, up a penny from Thursday. All right, let's switch gears, bring in Riley Nagel, who's in for Grace LaVerrier, with a check of that forecast. Good morning, Riley.
Good morning, Mike. Well, I'll get right to it. I'm sure you already know that it is warm outside, or it's been warm outside. We'll continue to see that for the next few days, but also with it being warm out, it is also quite dry. So you've noticed we've been having some fires in our area, so this warm and dry weather is not great for that. Luckily, we are not going to be having any severe winds in our area for the next couple of days. But as you can see here, humidity 37%. That is low, 0 rainfall. So really the message I'm going to continue to tell you this morning is if you are going to be doing any Memorial Day weekend activities, camping, just be aware of whatever the fire regulations are in that area. If there are burn regulations that you shouldn't be, or telling you not to do any campfires, please just make sure you pay attention to those. We are going to be warm and dry. I'll continue to say that throughout the morning. We'll take a look if you are headed out the door, your current conditions. 68 here in the valley, 64 down south in the Fraser Park area, 66 up in the KRV, and 69 over in Ridgecrest. So not too warm of a morning, but we will be warming up quite a bit, mid-90s by later on today. Next couple of hours here in Bakersfield, 66 by 6 a.m., 72 by 8 a.m., and 82 by 10 a.m. Warming up really quick. I'll have more on all of this, my full forecast coming up. I'm going to send things over to Mike for a check on your morning commute.
Yeah, Riley. Finally, taking a look at the live traffic cameras out there this morning. You got the Sangera Subaru camera over the 99. If that's where, if you're headed out of town, you're going to be using that. Right now, light to moderate traffic north and southbound near the Panama Lane off-ramp this morning. As our cameras are warming up, they tend to glitch a little bit there. Traffic through the area, the middle of town, east and west on the 58 Centennial Corridor on the Parkway, also looking really good. At the base of the Grapevine, we got some heavy traffic down there. The camera down there is not really up yet. We're going to take a look at that as soon as we get it, the Caltrans camera. But we can tell you at this hour right now, if you are headed out of town, Bakersfield and the greater Bakersfield area looking real good. Everything is in the green as you begin this day. And if you're headed out of the area or coming into town from one of our outlying communities, you're in the green this morning. That's always a great way to start. Let's keep it that way. Keep your head up and those phones down. And taking a live look this morning on this Friday as we begin the Memorial Day weekend, and we're going to be moving around the downtown area showing you our local memorials. This beginning, of course, with the World War II Memorial at Jastrow Park. If you remember, it was officially dedicated, the last of the memorials, in December of 2022. These 6 black granite slabs list the names of more than 700 local men and women who served in the war to end all wars, with room for more. The Memorial Day weekend begins for many people today, on Friday. It's the unofficial start of summer, but for others involved with tributes and ceremonies for our men and women in uniform, it begins with the placement of American flags around the county. Organizers with the 1,000 Flag event will be setting up at the park at Riverwalk in Bakersfield Saturday morning. The Bakersfield Breakfast Rotary brings together all 6 Rotary clubs with more than 200 volunteers to set up this display in just a couple of hours. There will be a barbecue and live music event Saturday night, followed by a 5K run Sunday morning, leading up to the ceremony on Monday at noon. Now, for Sandra Parnell, this event holds a very special meeting because of her dad, a chief warrant officer in the Navy during Korea and Vietnam.
Think of my dad because he was in the Army for 33 years, and I wish he was here to see it, you know.
What would he say?
Oh, I think he'd be proud. He was very proud of his service and proud of his country, and he'd be right there hammering stakes and diving in there with everybody else.
The 1,000 Flags is the sole fundraiser for the Breakfast Rotary each year. The ceremony ends with a skydiver landing at the park at Riverwalk, weather permitting, sometime around 12:45 on Monday. The Bakersfield National Cemetery will remember the fallen of the more than 10,000 service members and dependents who are interred there on Monday. U.S. Air Force Colonel Clifton Bell is the keynote speaker, with other dignitaries scheduled to address the crowd. The Sheriff's Department Honor Guard will lead the ceremony beginning at 9 a.m. The National Cemetery in Arvin, if you remember, was dedicated in 2009. Kern County Veterans Services and Historic Union Cemetery will also host the annual Memorial Day service on Monday morning. The solemn event dedicated to the service members who are buried on that site. The community is invited to come out at 3 o'clock this afternoon if you'd like to take part in the flag placing event. Volunteers making sure that each veteran's tomb is marked and honored with an American flag. The remembrance on Monday begins also at 9 a.m.
Right on Main Street in Lamont, this auto repair shop is charging ahead. I'm Carla Sosa, your Lamont neighborhood reporter. Coming up, how they're powering the future by training the next generation of mechanics to master electric vehicle repairs.
Well, it is warm and dry for this Memorial Day weekend, and it will be quite cooler along the coast if you are planning to travel. I have more on what you need to know coming up in my full forecast.
23 ABC Westside Parkway traffic cameras sponsored by My Cornerstone Mortgage.
Good morning, I'm Del Walters. Here's what's happening today. The Africa Center for Disease Control plans to hold a major meeting on Friday to discuss the latest Ebola outbreak. The cross-border meeting is scheduled to last 2 days. The focus containing the disease. It will take place in Uganda after being requested by that nation's government. Kevin Warsh officially takes over as Fed chair on Friday. President Trump selecting Warsh and will swear him in. Warsh was confirmed by the Senate back on May 13th. It was the lowest yes vote ever. Warsh replaces Jerome Powell, who had a contentious relationship with President Trump. Like Warsh, Powell was a Trump appointee. Friday marks Harvey Milk Day, celebrated nationwide, but especially in California. Milk was a pioneering gay rights activist and politician. He became the first openly gay politician in the state of California. He was assassinated back in 1978.
Meantime, there are stunned reactions this morning after the unexpected passing of NASCAR driver Kyle Busch. His death follows what's being called a, quote, severe illness. Busch was a huge presence on the racing scene, known for a brash, polarizing personality and for winning. With more on that, we turn to ABC's Andrea Fujii.
This morning, the racing world in shock after the sudden death of two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch behind the wheel, winning.
At just 41 years old, the married father of two died after being hospitalized with what his family describes as a severe illness. They did not elaborate. Reaction pouring in overnight. Denny Hamlin saying absolutely cannot comprehend this news. Dale Earnhardt Jr. saying, I will never be able to make sense of this loss, but I am thankful that we had found a way to become friends. Just 12 days ago, Busch radioed his crew during this race in upstate New York, asking a doctor to give him a shot. He was reportedly struggling with a sinus cold, made worse by the intense G-forces and elevation changes of the course.
He has asked to have medical attention available after the race.
I'm going to need a shot. Copy.
Although no cause of death has been given, doctors say bad colds can turn deadly.
In some situations, what may seem like a routine cold can actually turn into pneumonia, sepsis, meningitis, or may even affect other organs in your body. This can lead to some severe complications.
Busch won more races across NASCAR's 3 national series than any other driver in history. Just last week, after winning at Dover Motor Speedway, he gave a now very meaningful response to a reporter's question.
Why do these moments never get old, Kyle?
Because you never know when the last one is.
Off the track, Busch's family took front and center. He and his wife, Samantha, were vocal in the past about their struggles with infertility. In 2021, they spoke on the Tamron Hall Show about IVF, hoping to help other families.
When we were starting to go through it, we were trying to research, and there wasn't a whole lot out there.
In a joint statement last night, NASCAR and the Busch family saying Kyle was a rare talent, one who comes along once in a generation. He was fierce, he was passionate, he was immensely skilled, and he cared deeply about the sports and fans.
He was somebody who was willing, even at the top of his game and winning NASCAR championships, to still go and mentor and give advice to a teenager like me and a lot of other young drivers that came through his organization.
Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
Good morning, Kern County. If you are headed out the door right now, we'll take a look at your current conditions outside across the county here. 68 here in the valley right now, 63 down south near Frazier Park, 66 up in the KRV near Kernville there, and 69 over in Ridgecrest in the desert areas. So a somewhat cool start to the day. We're already kind of starting to warm up. It'll continue to warm up. We're getting into the mid-90s today. 72 this morning by midday, 88 and 96 by this afternoon. As you can see, we've got those sunny skies. We'll continue to see those pretty much for the next week or so. And then as far as your highs today, like I said, mid-90s, quite warm here in Bakersfield, 96, 78 down south in the Frazier Park area, 89 up in the KRV, and 96 again over there in Ridgecrest in the desert area. So everyone feeling pretty warm this today, that is, as we head into Memorial Day weekend. And as you've noticed, we do have some fires in the area. I wanted to point out that the winds in our area are not going to be too strong. Anything as far as those gusty conditions will be sticking mainly over in the mountain and desert areas. But I've been saying this morning as well, it is dry and hot, so we all have to be extra careful as far as any activities maybe partaking with Memorial Day weekend, making sure that we're mitigating any of those fire conditions. Now, if you are going to be traveling for this Memorial weekend, it's quite warm here in the Central Valley, but much cooler along the coast. Now we'll take a look a little closer at the Pismo Beach area. I'm sure that'll be quite popular this weekend, so if you are going, expect quite a few crowds, but also some cooler conditions. 67 on Saturday and 68 on Sunday. So if cooler is what you're looking for, really all along the coast is going to be great. Back here in Kern County, 95 on Saturday, 92 on Sunday, and then we're going to be cooling down starting early next week. I'll take one last look at Friday here, 96, and again you can see that staying warm for the weekend, and then cooling down at the start of next week, 88 on Monday, 84 on Tuesday, 84 on Wednesday, and then warming up later next week. Very similar conditions across Kern County. Everyone's staying warm for the next few days or so, and then cooling down starting early next week. I'm going to send things over to Mike for a check on your morning commutes.
Starting out once again with a look at our live cameras out here, giving you an idea right this second of what it looks like out on the roadway, just in case you're heading out today for this long weekend. The Sangera Subaru cameras, things starting to pick up on the 99 southbound coming towards you, northbound going away. This is right near the Panama Lane off-ramp, but it is moving north and south, east and west through Centennial Corridor, light. Sometimes moderate traffic at this hour, but it is moving flowing nicely through the Centennial Corridor. The base of the Grapevine also moving despite those overnight construction projects. They're going to pull that up here in a minute. A couple of the other projects have vanished from our map. You can tell by the orange circles on there. Those are different areas. Depending on which neighborhood you live in, you know all about these ongoing projects. And in Kern County, we're looking really good for this Getaway Friday. If you are traveling, things looking nice out there. Let's keep it that way. Keep your head up and those phones down. 519 now. Weibel Road is closed this morning in both directions between Brundage Lane and Bell Terrace until 10 o'clock as crews are pouring a concrete deck as part of construction work in that area. As this closure continues, drivers are being detoured to Real Road or H Street. A flag person will be out there helping to control access to homes and businesses that are north of Bell Terrace.
A family-owned repair shop in Lamont is fueling the future, training the next generation to master electric vehicle repairs. I'm Carla Sosa, your Lamont neighborhood reporter. Now they have a team of highly skilled EV technicians ready to serve the Arvin Lamont area. After completing a 2-week course in Boston earlier this year, a Lamont auto shop is charging ahead, ready to train young people to bring electric vehicle services to rural communities. Lamont Auto Repair recently secured a grant from California Jobs First and the Kern County Coalition for Jobs. The Lamont EV Workforce and Repair Center will establish an EV certified facility, train and certify 4 to 6 local technicians, and launch full EV repair services for the public. Owner Emmanuel Espinosa says they're making history, becoming the first independent shop in the region to offer this service.
It seems like before people were tied to having to drive out to the dealerships to get these types of services done to their vehicles, but now we exist. We're able to comfortably work on their vehicles after our training.
According to the owner, his goal is to also provide this training to high school students. For 23 ABC, I'm Carla Sosa, your Lamont neighborhood reporter.
If you're having trouble finding a job, you're not alone. I'm Sam Well, your neighborhood reporter. We'll hear from Job Fest Kern County at their annual stop in Shafter about why they feel it's so important to continue to have large-scale events like this where employers and employees can meet in person.
Welcome back. It is 5:24 now, and buying a home is becoming even more expensive as U.S. mortgage rates have climbed to their highest level in 9 months. According to Freddie Mac, the average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage rose to 6.51% this week. Turmoil in the bond market fueled by the war in Iran is what's sending those rates higher. But mortgage rates are lower than they were this time last year. In mid-May of 2025, the 30-year fixed mortgage averaged 6.86%. From then until now, economists were predicting rates to fall more than they have following 3 rate cuts from the Federal Reserve.
Let's take a look at some weather in your neighborhood. Now, I've been repeating it all morning. It is warm. It is dry. It will be a nice, sunny Memorial Day weekend. But again, we're going to have to be very careful if you're going to be out camping. Now, here locally, 96 here in Bakersfield, 96 in Arvin and Lamont, and 95 in Taft, 93 in Dahone. So everywhere, very warm, but it should be a great Memorial weekend.
The general tone for job seekers right now is that it's hard to find a job. I'm Sam Will, your neighborhood reporter. And while that may be true, JobFest Kern County is looking at ways to make it easier for Kern County residents to either re-enter the workforce or transition to a new career.
According to Josh Connor, a job coordinator with the organization, they've been able to help over 500 people that they know of get hired in the last few months, with several more events to go. Connor says for those struggling to find a job recently, events like theirs are helpful because they can open up candidates' eyes to new industries that they may not be thinking about and put them in front of hiring managers that day.
This is our fourth event now, and it just started, you know, so I know in Bakersfield there was over 100 job offers on the spot that we were aware of. The online world is great. You can apply for multiple places sitting on your couch. But the thing is, the software that they use, if you don't prepare your resume right, you don't write your application right, you're not using their terminology, you're going to get kicked to the side before anybody sees it.
Now, if you missed this JobFest event, you can find plenty more on their website. We'll include that link in the story online. In Shafter, I'm Sam Hoyle, your Northwest Kern neighborhood reporter.
Still ahead, we'll take a live look at some of our memorials to honor local service members right here in Kern County, plus the top stories of the week, your weekly forecast, and more. Stick around. You're watching 23 ABC. Good morning, Kern County. Thanks for staying with 23 ABC on this Friday. It's May 22nd. Glad you're with us. I'm Mike Hart with Riley Nagel, who's in for Grace Laveria this morning with a check of the forecast. And we are talking, of course, about it's the long holiday weekend. It is the Memorial Day weekend. So there's a lot going on for our military men and women out there. Let's show you live pictures this morning from another one of our memorials. This is the Korean War Memorial in Jastrow Park. We showed you the World War II off the top of the show. Live pictures as we head into the Memorial Day weekend to remember our local service members. Now, if you remember, this memorial was dedicated in February of 2006, and each July a ceremony is held there to mark the end of the conflict in conjunction with the Korean War Veterans Association. Those black panels, 3 of them adorned with the motto on the right, "Freedom is not free." It also includes the names of our local veterans who died in that war. All right, let's bring in Riley once again. He's now over at the Weather Center with a check of what we can expect this weekend. Riley?
Yeah, Mike, you know, we've been talking about it all morning, Memorial Day weekend. People are getting out, traveling, and we're just reminding people that it is warm, it is dry. We've been taking a look. Humidity today, 37%, which is low. 0 rainfall, no rain headed our way, so we just have to be careful with these warm and dry conditions. If you are headed out the door right now, it is a relatively cool start to the day. 68 here in the valley, 62 down south near Fraser Park, 65 up in the KRV, and 69 over in Ridgecrest in the desert areas. We'll be warming up into the mid-90s today. I'll let you take a look the next couple of hours or throughout the day, really. Here in the valley, 66 by 6 a.m., 72 by 8 a.m., and 82 by 10. We're jumping up a whole 10 degrees in just a couple of hours there. And like I said, we'll be reaching up into the mid-90s today. So we've got a lot of warm weather. Overnight here in the valley, 63, 59 in Lake Isabella, 53 in Tehachapi, and 56 in California City. I'll have more on what you need for the next week coming up in my full forecast. I'm going to send things over to Mike for a check on your morning commute.
All right, Riley, thanks. Things starting to pick up there on our live traffic cameras. Sangera Subaru camera over the 99. Yeah, moderate to heavy now as people are either getting to work or getting out of town for the weekend. AAA predicting a record number of people out on the roadways. So just keep that in mind when you leave. Our My Cornerstone Mortgage camera, east and west Centennial Corridor on the park, on the West Side Parkway right there. And things light at this time of morning. We're going to show you that Caltrans cam from the base of the Grapevine in a minute. It's still glitching. It's frozen right now, but you can kind of see that it is still slow going as you get over. But there's nothing to stop you. That's the most important thing. Taking a look at the Bakersfield area, we are in the green in Kern County, also flowing very well depending on where you are headed. Let's go to George Toro. I forgot George Toro. How could I forget George with the CHP and see if there's anything else out there to get in your way. George?
Hey, good morning, Mike, and good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Yeah, not too bad of a morning commute. Just one little hiccup over on Taft Highway and Enos Lane. CHP Buttonwillow is wrapping up an earlier crash involving a solo vehicle that went off the roadway, not affecting any traffic lanes. And as Mike said, we are flowing in the green here in the Bakersfield area. Nothing to slow you down. If you are getting ready to head out that door and maybe headed out of the Bakersfield area this morning, all of our major roadways are open and clear. That's my look at traffic. Remember to buckle up and watch your speed.
Thank you, George. I appreciate that. We'll have George coming up throughout the morning. In other news, serious stuff, the Kern County Sheriff's Office is going to be updating the Kern River fatality sign this morning at the mouth of the canyon to the number 348 lives lost. That's an increase of 6 deaths since last year. Deputies say the river is beautiful. They admit that, but it is deadly, and they want to remind you to be careful as summer and those hot temperatures approach. Search and rescue crews will be at the sign 9 o'clock this morning to answer any questions. And then the Kern River Conservancy will be hosting a water safety fair at Hart Park today from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. because people will be going out to the river all weekend long. Now, during the event today, you can pick up a free life jacket provided by Boating California. The convicted rapist who escaped from deputies during a medical appointment at Kern Medical this week is scheduled to appear in court this afternoon to face a series of new charges. 45-year-old Vincent De Leon is accused of escaping custody Wednesday before being captured about 90 minutes later in East Bakersfield. Court records indicate De Leon has now been charged with felony prison escape by force, conspiracy to commit a crime, using tear gas on a peace officer, resisting an officer, and taking an officer's weapon other than a gun, along with several other offenses. De Leon is yet to be sentenced for another case involving rape and kidnapping, to which he faces the possibility of 5 consecutive life terms. He's scheduled to appear in court this afternoon on those new charges. A stabbing at a home on Thursday morning in Northeast Bakersfield turned into a standoff after the suspect barricaded himself while still armed with a knife. After refusing to leave the home in the area of Arnold Street and Vanderbilt Drive, Bakersfield police deployed a canine in order to detain the man. The victim, a family member, received minor to moderate injuries and was taken to the hospital to be treated. A witness who was a neighbor spoke to us about what he normally sees as a quiet community.
Other than him, it's very quiet. Normally he's on his rants and he leaves for the whole day and he's gone the whole day and then he comes back late in the afternoon. But other than him, it's very quiet.
According to the BPD, the suspect was also hospitalized and charged for a stabbing assault and resisting arrest. Taking a live look this morning at Capitol Hill, 2 Capitol police officers who were working on January 6th have filed a lawsuit to block the recently announced Anti-Weaponization Fund. Scripps News Group Stephanie Liebergen reports.
The controversial new Anti-Weaponization Fund announced by the Department of Justice is already facing roadblocks as there's a new lawsuit that wants to block this fund from ever even getting off the ground. The new suit was filed by 2 Capitol police officers who were working at the Capitol on January 6, 2021 during the insurrection. We're talking about Harry Dunn and Daniel Hodges. Harry Dunn has been very vocal since the insurrection, testifying before Congress, speaking at press conferences, and he's now running to be a member of Congress in the state of Maryland. Daniel Hodges, he was the officer who was nearly crushed in a doorway, caught on camera, one of the more violent moments of that attack on the Capitol. Now, in the lawsuit, they call this new Anti-Weaponization Fund an illegal slush fund. They say this type of settlement should be subject to some kind of judicial review, and they argue that the acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche, and the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, in setting up this fund are violating the Administrative Procedures Act. But beyond that, their lawsuit really focuses on the 1,600 people who have been charged and or convicted of crimes related to actions that they took during that attack on the Capitol.
Our attorney reached out to us, me and Harry, and said that we would have a case to try and stop it, and I'm willing to do whatever I can to make sure that these people don't get that money, these ill-gotten gains from the American taxpayers. So I just said, yeah, absolutely, if I can help, I'll do it.
Dunn and Hodges want the court to rule this fund illegal. They also specifically want to make sure that no money from this fund goes to insurrectionists, but then they ask the court to just block the new anti-weaponization fund in its entirety. This is, though, just the beginning of the lawsuit process. This is likely going to play out for months and months in the courts. Stephanie Liebergan, Scripps News Group, Washington.
If you're coming down to Lake Buena Vista, you might want to stop by the Lightning in a Bottle Festival. I'm Shantae Mani, your Bakersfield neighborhood reporter. I'll share with you how this festival is returning while boosting Kern County's economy.
The 23 ABC Westside Parkway traffic camera is sponsored by My Cornerstone Mortgage.
Welcome back. It is 5:42 now. The Bureau of Land Management has released a final environmental analysis for proposed updates to oil and gas leasing and development on federal lands across South Central California. The review covers public lands in 8 counties, including Kern, and examines updated information related to future oil and gas development. The BLM says the effort supports the Trump administration's push to expand domestic energy production on federal land. The agency says the Bakersfield field office manages about 400,000 acres of public land and supports about 3,500 jobs, as well as more than $200 million in economic activity each year. The EPA is expected to publish a notice on the final analysis in the Federal Register sometime today.
Good morning, Kern County. Well, it is going to be hot and dry. I have said that a million times already, and I will continue to say it as we head into Memorial Day weekend. If you are headed out the door right now, we'll take a look at our current conditions, current temperatures. That is 68 here in the valley, 62 down south near Frazier Park, 65 up in the KRV near Kernville, and 70 over in Ridgecrest, over in the desert areas. The next couple of hours or throughout the day here in the valley, 72 this morning, 88 by midday, and 96 by this afternoon. Sunny skies, and that 96 is going to be our high here in the valley as well. 78 the high down there in Frazier Park in the southern mountain areas, 89 up in the KRV, and 96 over in Ridgecrest. So it's going to be sticking in those mid 90s or low 90s, higher or upper 80s for most of Kern County, and we'll continue to see that into the weekend as well. Now, we've been taking a look at some of the windy conditions. It's not going to be too windy here today. Any of those windy or gusty conditions will be sticking around outside of the valley. The highest I'm seeing is 30 miles per hour. So we've been just keeping a look on those windy conditions, especially as we've been having fires in the area. And again, it is quite dry, so we're going to have to be very careful if you are going to be camping this weekend, potentially starting any fires, just being aware of whatever regulations are near you. Now, if you are going to be traveling outside of the Central Valley, it is quite warm here. Let's take a look. 97 over there in Vegas if you're headed out that way. A little bit cooler down south near Los Angeles, and then much cooler along the coast. Now, one popular area many people head to is Pismo Beach. So if you're headed out there this weekend, 67 on Saturday and 68 on Sunday. So if you like those cooler conditions and you can handle the crowds, Pismo Beach is where you're going to want to be. Now, looking into the Memorial Day weekend here locally, 95 on Saturday, 92 on Sunday, and 88 on Monday. As you can see, we're going to have a slight cool down starting next week. We'll take a look at your 7-day forecast. That's 96 today. Sticking with those warmer conditions, 95 on Saturday, 92 on Sunday, and then you can see it's starting to slightly cool down by Monday, 84 on Tuesday, 84 on Wednesday, and then we'll start to warm up later next week. Very similar conditions across Kern County. Everyone's staying warm this weekend, cooling down at the start of next week. But I'm going to send things over to Mike Hart for a check on your morning commute.
Yeah, thanks, Riley. Taking a look at our live cameras out here, the Sangera Subaru camera. If you're just waking up, you want to know what the traffic's like, there you go. This is what's happening right now. Moderate to heavy traffic southbound and northbound on the 99 near the Panama Lane off-ramp, southern end of the slot right there. Your My Cornerstone Mortgage camera showing you the east-west artery right here, the 58th through Centennial corridor. Moderate for what's considered this area at this time of the morning. Spring and George Toro with the CHP. See what else is waiting for you out there, George.
Hey, good morning, Mike, and good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Yeah, here in the Bakersfield area, we are flowing in the green and incident-free, but CHP Buttonwillow is a little busy this morning. They just wrapped up an earlier crash involving a solo vehicle on 119 and Enos Lane, so no issues for you through there, but now they are responding to another crash involving a motorcycle off the roadway on 119, just west of Airport Road. So if that is part of your planned morning commute, just be cautious if you are traveling through there. Now, for those of you headed out of the Bakersfield area this morning, all of our major roadways are open and clear. That's my look at traffic. Remember to buckle up and watch your speed.
In today's Tech Bites, Meta settles ahead of an upcoming trial. The company reaching a deal with a Kentucky school district, which claims social media companies designed their platforms to addict young people. No terms were disclosed. TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube reached settlements last week. Next, ChatGPT is now available in Microsoft PowerPoint. Its maker, OpenAI, says the chatbot can create new presentation slides and edit existing ones. ChatGPT is already usable in several other tools, including Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets. Spotify has announced a new program called Reserve. It will track listening history and sharing activity to gauge who are an artist's biggest fans. If that artist is on tour, Spotify says it will hold 2 tickets for the most dedicated fans. Those are your Tech Bites. I'm Rena Roy. Have a great day.
If you see the cars in the distance coming in, it's because they're here for one thing: the return of Lake Buena Vista's Lightning in a Bottle Festival. I'm Shantae Amani, your Bakersfield neighborhood reporter. The Lightning in a Bottle Festival roared to life Wednesday at Buena Vista Lake with cars streaming in from as far as Denver, Seattle, Phoenix, Sacramento, and San Diego. Festival goers like Michelle Wood and Ryan White say they're amped up for this year's electrifying lineup.
Excited to see Zedstead. I'm excited to see Tinashe for sure.
With roughly 500 acts packed into 5 days, friends and families are camping out for the immersive festival experience. That growth, Kern County's economic development says, brought in around $14 million in tax revenue for Kern County in 2025. But along with the crowds come sobering safety concerns. In 2022, 2 attendees died after acute medical emergencies. And in 2024, another tragically drowned at Buena Vista Lake, according to the Kern County Sheriff's Office.
We have a pretty extensive safety and security plan that we've been working on and building on year over year. And, we do everything we can to put on the safest, comfortable event for everybody.
Make sure that if you're attending this festival to stay, #1, hydrated, but also have fun and stay safe. I'm Shantae Amani reporting from Lake Buena Vista.
And classic cars will take over Frazier Park tomorrow. The 16th annual Ridge Route Run Car Show features live entertainment, food, raffles, and family activities. They've got bouncy houses, petting zoos, pony rides. Organizers say check-in begins tomorrow morning at 7. The show wraps up at 3 in the afternoon. And the 26th annual Menudo and Pozole Cook-Off is happening this weekend at the Kern County Fairgrounds. Stop by and get a taste. Yeah, chefs will be judging on taste, aroma, and other categories. Participants are putting their homemade dishes to the test on Sunday. This event has drawn thousands to the fairgrounds over the years. Gates open at 11, runs until 6. Proceeds go to the Scholarship Fund for the Kern County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Small Business Technical Training Programs.
I'm John Matteries. Memorial Day sales mean great savings on appliances, furniture, outdoor gear, and more. We'll show you the best things to buy this weekend. It'll save you a lot of money. With the unofficial start of summer this weekend, it might be a great time to grab a deal on appliances, mattresses, power tools, and more. And with pricing so unpredictable this year, it might be a great idea to grab a deal when you find one.
What type of stove are you looking for?
Alexis Brennan is hunting for a deal on a new electric stove.
I saw that the Memorial Day sale was going on, so I figured I'd stop by, see what I could get for a good buck.
Smart move, says Chris Ewell, manager of this Wrecker and Berger appliance store.
Any national holiday, you're going to have really, really good sales around the appliance industry.
Ewell says you'll find manufacturer rebates, package deals. And at his store, hundreds of dollars off scratch and dent models.
Small dents and stuff on the top, marked down to $7.99.
Meantime, at your local hardware store,
this trimmer is $30 off. It's a gas trimmer.
Ace Hardware store owner Tim Cable showed markdowns on steel trimmers and Craftsman leaf blowers.
They're usually $99.99. They're going to be on sale for $49.99, so half off.
He has grill deals.
They're $50 off.
And more.
We have plenty of deals for the outdoor.
Memorial Day shoppers will likely find the best discounts on patio furniture and outdoor goods, according to data gathering company Decodo, with average discounts of 34% off. That's followed by apparel, 32% off, mattresses, 30% off, and major appliances, 22%.
If you're shopping for something bigger ticket, you definitely want to shop around.
Smart shopping expert Trey Bodge says use Google or Yahoo Shopping to compare prices and shop with a target price in mind.
You're really only going to see 40, 50, 60% off during a big sale moment like a 3-day weekend.
Shoppers like Brennan are paying attention.
Honestly, some of the best prices I've seen.
That way you don't waste your money. John Mattery, Scripps News Group.
High prices not stopping millions from traveling this Memorial Day weekend. I'm ABC's Lionel Moise. That story ahead.